Good morning from another gorgeous mountainous destination in the state of Rio de Janeiro. We are in Petrópolis, which is known as the Imperial City. And when you come to the Imperial City, where is better to stay than in this place? We are actually staying in this place, which is called Palácio Quitandinha. This place has a lot of history and it is one of the landmarks of the city that when you come here as a tourist, you come and you visit. So we figured, why not stay here if we could? Inside the first floor, there is an organization that I believe it is founded by the federal government, no?
I don't know if it's a state, but it's a government. It is a government organization that takes care of. It's for like cultural development. So they have a lot of exhibition.
So, like, if it looks like a museum, it is really a museum. Down on the ground floor, there are so many different halls and different exhibitions. But the history is that in the 1940s, there was a businessman that had the business of mining, very, very rich at the time, from Minas Gerais. And he came and he built this structure here. And he wanted to do it as a hotel and casino. However, a few years later, unfortunately for him, in Brazil, gambling became illegal. So for a few years, it still stayed as a hotel. And after that, it was just converted to condos and then the units were sold. Now it is a beautiful place to come and see as a tourist. Every day, since yesterday that we arrived, there are buses with schools that they bring students to see the place for the exhibitions and for the park. The park is somehow under construction a little bit. There is a very cute little lighthouse there that at night the light actually turns. It's very cute. And there is a restaurant on the side and this lake. This artificial lake, when they designed it, it was supposed to look like the map of Brazil. From above, when you look, it is supposed to have the shape of the map of Brazil, but a lot of people say you should use a lot of imagination because it's not really very similar to the map of Brazil. The building is known internationally because a lot of heads of states, kings, queens, politicians, celebrities have stayed here. A lot of important treaties have been signed here. So we figured, hey, if we're gonna stay in Petrópolis, let's sleep somewhere that we are literally sleeping in a piece of history. I have some shots from inside also. The unit is very basic. It is old, but it's still, you can see the luxury that existed at the time. I have some shots from the corridors and elevators, no, the staircase, but I don't know first floor because it's a cultural center if we can really film. If I can film, I will put those shots also for you just to have an idea how inside it looks like.
And even if you want to just go and see, there is also a coffee shop there. Like not only the restaurant, then there is just a coffee shop.
Actually, yeah, it's good you mentioned. I forgot. There's a bistro and there is a coffee shop. So you have both options. We tried the coffee shop yesterday. It was very good, actually. Very nice. Bistro looks very stylish.
Yes.
But we didn't go there yet. And yeah, we will see if we can film, if we're allowed to film, and we'll show you that too. The property has 6 floors and a total of 50,000 square meters. The dome that is currently housing one of the exhibitions is one of the biggest in the world, with 25 meters of height and 51 meters of diameters. It is compared to the St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome. Alright, and now we are at a place that is called Museu Imperial. The name of the city, Petrópolis, comes from the name of the last Portuguese emperor, Don Pedro II. Petro comes from Pedro, polis is city, so Petrópolis is the city of Pedro. That was named after him. And the city where we were before, Teresopolis, as we mentioned in that video, was named after his wife, Teresa Cristina. Now, it's very important to come here because at the Imperial Museum you will know about the history, about the whole presence that existed here. Petrópolis until the 18th century was inhabited by the native Indians that were living in this region, and it was only after the discovery of the gold in Minas Gerais that the Portuguese came here and they wanted to stay here and take advantage of that, and they came up with a route that would bring the gold from Minas directly to Rio de Janeiro so that it could be shipped to Europe. And that was actually the beginning of the point that the Portuguese royal family started having some interest, because that route at some point would pass by Petrópolis. And going through that route, then the Portuguese royal family realized that, oh, this is a place that we could stay, and they decided to use it as their summer residence. Now, I'm gonna give you a short story. Don Pedro I, which was the father of the last emperor, Don Pedro II, first he came here in the beginning of 19th century. He was passing through this region because at the time the state of Minas Gerais was very important and there was a lot of gold there, and so he was going through here. Then they really liked the location, the weather, the climate especially, and he decided to buy a farm here. When he bought the farm, he planned to build a residence for the royal family, Portuguese royal family. And the idea was to spend the summers here because, as always, Rio de Janeiro itself is very hot. So they wanted to use this place as their summer residence. And after that, unfortunately, he didn't see the whole project finished because he passed away, and his son, Don Pedro II, came and finished the whole project and became this structure that you see here. And another very important thing is that they believe this is the last picture of the Portuguese royal family that was taken here in this building. And you have the names also. This is Don Pedro II, Princess Isabel, that is their daughter, and Teresa Cristina is his wife there, and the rest of the family. After the royal family decided to stay here in the summers, other elite people also that were at the time living in Rio de Janeiro, mostly Europeans, they also tried to do the same thing. And believe it or not, even until now, a lot of people who want to escape the heat in Rio, they come here. Petrópolis was founded in 1843, obviously by Don Pedro II. And then later in 1857, the town actually was elevated to the status of a city. And until the end of the 19th century, the city continued to possess a lot of importance in various aspects such as economy, commerce, and strategic location. Petrópolis has a population of around 300,000 people and also sits at an elevation of 845 meters. The Imperial Museum also has a garden right in front of it. And from what we understand, for the garden there is no entrance fee to pay. You can just walk in and enjoy the garden. To go inside, we have to buy a ticket. What we were told is that unfortunately we cannot film, we cannot take a picture. Apparently all of your belongings, you have to leave it at the entrance. The city being named after Don Pedro II, it's also worth mentioning he is also buried in the city, and there is another site for that also we will go see after.
So the museum was not always pink, like the original color is actually that yellow there, that they left just that little piece there, showing like actually the museum was yellow and not pink. After the royal family, they had to flee from Brazil, so they went back to Europe. The museum actually became a school, so it was a school for a while, and then the president of Brazil at that time, Getúlio Vargas, he made like an agreement to actually transform the school into a museum in honor of the royal family. The museum has around like 300,000 pieces of like furniture, like jewelry, crowns, everything else from that time. It was gathered like from the families that at the time were working here, people that knew the royal family, so everything they donated to the museum that can be seen here.
Also, when I mentioned that in the summer they would come here and they would stay here, at that time Rio de Janeiro was the capital of the what we would call Imperial Brazil,
yeah.
no? And when they would come here, they would bring the whole government, let's say, like the whole entourage, the whole people. So basically the country would be ran from here because everybody was here during the summer.
And but the emperor, like Don Pedro, he wouldn't stay here only for 3 months. Like apparently he would come around like September and stay here until April. So it was like a very long summer that he would stay here. But I can understand because Rio is always hot.
And
so,
also the perks of being an emperor, you know.
So hard.
So we just finished our visit of the museum. Unfortunately, no filming, no pictures, nothing is allowed. But my God, I'm speechless. I'm still trying to digest the greatness, the attention to detail, the luxury, and the design of everything from vases to tables to other part of stairs. Amazing, amazing. It really blows your mind. If you're here, it's definitely worth it. You should definitely go visit it. No?
And there's a lot of things written in English, so it's easy to understand if you don't speak Portuguese. And the one thing that I learned is that they didn't have electricity, of course, at that time. So everything was candles, and then they would wake up very early to take advantage of natural light. So they would have lunch at 9 a.m. Imagine have made breakfast at 5 a.m., have lunch at 9 a.m. and dinner at 4, so that you know that they would stay awake only when there is sun, and then when it's dark they sleep.
Next to the museum there is also this pavilion which is dedicated to the carriages that the royal family had. This part you can film, so let's see. Apparently it is very interesting because I just saw Mariana's face from the first piece and apparently she was blown away. Let's see. Oh my God, look at this. My God. This is how you make an entrance in style. Let's see the rest real quick. And now we are right in front of the Cathedral of Petrópolis, which is called the Catedral São Pedro de Alcântara. And it has a lot of significance because this is actually where the Portuguese Emperor Don Pedro II, his wife, his daughter and his son-in-law are actually buried. Also, it is right in front of one of the most, if not the most famous street in Petrópolis called Avenida Koeler. It depends on which language you you speak in. It has a different pronunciation, but this street has a lot of significance. There is that house over there, that is the house of the daughter of the emperor, and all along the street, as you will see while we are gonna walk there, they all have signs in front of them, and which indicates they are historic buildings with all the information about the people who were living there, and also the year it was constructed. That we're gonna go check it out after, but first let's go and see the church. This is how the interior of the church looks like. As you can see, a lot of beautiful tinted glass all around, and the style is actually a neo-Gothic style. The construction year was 1884, but this is the year that it started. After that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, online we read that by 1925 the construction was done, but it was not completed because the tower was not done back then, and only was finished by 1969. So it took a long time to completely finish the construction of this cathedral. As I mentioned, this is the resting place of Don Pedro II and Teresa Cristina, his wife. We are now at the house that belonged to the daughter of the Emperor, Princess Isabel. Apparently right now it has turned into a government building, but since when you come here you have to come and visit, we just wanted to visit and also to show it to you guys because it's a very short distance from the church, and it's a cute pink facade that it has. The sign says that her and her husband, they were living here from April 1876 until the time that the family was exiled back to Europe, which was 1889, no? Yes.
And if you want to do events, you can rent the house too. I was reading there that if you want to do, I think maybe even like a wedding party or something like that, you can rent the house.
And right across the street there are all of those nice houses that I spoke to you about. This is Avenida Koeler. So we're gonna just cross the street and show you all of those nice historic houses with all the signs in front of them. All of these houses that used to be historic houses, and they still are, now they have turned into different places. Like this one is a clinic. We have seen some that have been turned into a bank or a school, but all of them are still like historic buildings. Like this one is a house that belonged to the Mota Maya family. This one has been converted into a hotel. That would be nice also. Casablanca Koeler is called. As we're walking on this street, and I'm also going to show you more of the beautiful houses, two more things to mention. Parking. You can find street parking very easily. We parked actually just on the street, and we paid like I think for 4 hours it was around 16 reais. Second thing, very important, is safety. Petrópolis is the safest city in the state of Rio de Janeiro. So walking around with cameras, with like drone, with other things, you don't need to worry about safety. This one is a bed and breakfast, Pousada Imperial Koeler.
This is called Palácio Rio Negro, like Black River Palace. That is the summer residence of the presidents in Brazil. But the last one that came here was Lula, but in 2008. And then after that, the place is abandoned, unfortunately. The building is beautiful, but you can see that needs a lot of TLC. A part of it is a museum too. Apparently they say that if the president decides to come here, he has the right to come any day, any time. But I believe it's not in a situation that can actually have a president here.
So a few meters down the sidewalk, we actually talked to the guards, and it is apparently being renovated, but they said also inside we can come. So just to film, just to go around the building, they were nice enough to allow us to come and pass by here. At the end there is the museum of the Air Force, Brazilian Air Force. Is it open, he said?
No.
No, okay, that one no.
It's going to be open just for the German immigration festival that they have here in Petrópolis every year, end of June, beginning of July. That is like 2 weeks of festival, so during that 2 weeks the museum it's going to be open, but they said because there isn't people to work in the museum, that's why it's not open.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be this one, no? Yeah. This house is also called Villa Itararé, and I didn't know, but Mariana told me that apparently it has been used several times for the production of Brazilian soap operas. There are also a couple of chocolate factories like this one, Cats, and another one that are very famous. You can visit them. There is a beer tour also from the company Bohemia, which is one of the most famous beers in Brazil. That there is a very interesting museum as well from what we saw online, but unfortunately we don't have the time to do it because we're here only for 2 days. So there is that activity also to do if you would like to go and visit those places as well. Next we're gonna visit a place that is very controversial. It is called Casa de Santos Dumont. Why is it controversial? Because what do Brazilians say?
This is Santos Dumont, is the father of aviation, let's say, not the Wright brothers, and actually the one who created the airplane and actually flew with an airplane was Santos Dumont and not the Wright brothers. But if you talk to any American, they're gonna say that who invented the plane was the Wright brothers. But in Brazil, of course, it is Santos Dumont. And here is like his house where he used to live when he was here in Brazil. He used to live most of the time in Paris, and it was there that actually he flew the plane that he invented.
So, let us know, what do you think? Who flew an airplane for the first time? Leave us comments below, because we really want to know. Me, of course, being married to a Brazilian, it was him, 100%. But, you know, I might be biased, you know. So, you guys let us know. We're gonna visit the house. It is a museum, and I think there is an entrance fee. I'll tell you guys how much it was. So the sign in front of the house says that this place was used in 1918 by Santos Dumont as his summer residence. He was apparently an inventor, and even in the house there are some of his other projects, so let's go see. So the ticket is 10 reais per person, and as soon as you get to the house, even to enter, look at the shape of the stairs. It's completely different.
Mandatory to always start with your right foot.
So this is a little model of the house. This is him, I think, looking out. And all around you have the other products exposed. This was also his portrait, and that is his famous airplane. There is also a square nearby that we actually passed by, we filmed, and there is a model, like a replica of his airplane exposed on that square. So we filmed that too. I'm gonna put the images here so you guys can see that too.
Important about the house is that besides being very tiny, but there is no kitchen, nowhere. Like so, because the next building today it's a university, but it was a hotel at the time. So he would get all of his meals from the hotel, and they would deliver here for him. So he didn't need to have a kitchen. So
yeah, right from his window, actually, he could see the hotel, which is now converted to a university. Not bad, actually, if you just want to sit and invent. You can get your food delivery and then you just invent. A nice touch of the museum is also that all of the arrows are in the shape of a plane. So as you come in to continue the tour, everything is pointing to that direction, but in a form of a plane. Also, as you saw from the images of the square, on the plane it's written 14 bis or 14 bis. That was the name of his aircraft, and even here there is a cultural center with that name, dedicated to his work probably. And this is how you go to the second floor. Not at his time. There is a staircase, but now you come from around. His time he had his staircase right there. And this is another one of his inventions, this shower. So at that time, he had hot water to take a shower. The sign here, it says, the shower is made by a perforated bucket, which is this bucket, but divided in half. Half of it is cold water, the other one is hot water. And then there is a string. This is a string that you pull. So then the water that comes out, it's a mix of cold and hot, which they call it lukewarm water. That at that time nobody had this luxury of taking a shower with warm water, which for Petrópolis, believe me, if it's cold, you need a hot shower. It's the next day now, and we have come to a place that is very cute. Let me show you. This place is called Crystal Palace, and the history behind it is that the husband of the daughter of the emperor, Princess Isabel, he gave this to her as a gift. But the twist is that all of this structure was designed and built in France, and then he shipped everything here, and then they assembled it here. It was supposed to be a kind of like a greenhouse, but then after that, throughout years, it also turned into a ballroom, and now with the park around it, it is also used for various events and gatherings. And it was inaugurated in 1884. And inside, as you walk in, there is also this gorgeous chandelier. It is basically like 3 spaces. One space on the right, one on the left, and then there is a like a semicircle there, and on top you also have like a dome-shaped roof and glasses around that are mostly clear and some shade of, I would say, green or blue. Mariana says I'm colorblind, so is it blue or it's green? Blue, okay. You know, the deficiencies of being a man is not being good with colors. So that's it. And oh, there is a tile too here on the floor. It's very cute. And the craftsmanship of the metal work all around, it's really cute. And all of this was shipped here from France.
finish our video in Petrópolis. We are in front of this house that was built in 1884 by a Dutch engineer. The house is called Casa da Ipiranga or Ipiranga house. And the most important thing about this house is that there is 7 mistakes. The sides are asymmetric. Leave us a comment if you find the mistakes, so we can see if they are the same as the ones that we found.
So this ends our video in Petrópolis. We will be still traveling more in the state of Rio de Janeiro, so stay tuned for those videos too. If you like the video, don't forget to give us a like to support us, and we will see you in the next one. Ciao.